I think everyone in the league is 1-1 except for
No,
two
stop.
teams. So Mike's one of those teams that isn't 1-1. And he's on the bad side of that. But yeah, let's get into the week 2 results. Let's get into it right away. Earth Division matchups. Dem Lions 179. Bino Poppy 185 comes out of nowhere and fucking blindsides this guy, man. Break it down, Jose.
I mean, really, I was on the right side of luck there. Kirk and Thielen were held in check pretty much all game on Monday, which obviously works in my benefit. And so coming into that Monday night game, I think I was down like 120 points, I think about. And I knew Allen and Diggs were going to do some work. I just didn't know that they were going to be that efficient, which again, I was just on the right side of luck then. And then obviously I was lucky that Judy got hurt as well. Don't like to see players hurt, but yeah, that obviously worked to my benefit. So that ended up, giving me the win for the week. So.
Yeah, man. I think before that Monday night game, everyone would have counted you out. Everyone did count you out, and it was kind of crazy to witness that happen. I think you were like a 1% chance of winning or whatever, on sleep.
Exactly.
And then that turned pretty quick whenever your boys started, playing. But yeah, man, those Monday night games were crazy. I mean, the Bills look unstoppable. The Eagles look really good. It's crazy stuff, man.
Yep. And of course, also, finally got lucky that he did not put in Amon-Ra, because obviously he would have blown me out.
That's true, man. That's true. I think, he left a 50 burger on the bench. And I mean, his team performed again, man. 179 points. Aaron Jones came out. Yeah, he had a kind of a slow week 1, and people were kind of questioning him. Not us here, but just in general, like the fantasy community, kind of questioning Aaron Jones. But he had a hell of a game. Cooper Kupp did his thing. So, man, his players came out. Judy got hurt, so he only had 2 points there. But I'm sure he would have loved to have traded Judy for Amon-Ra or even Thielen. So, man, Vino Poppy with the important divisional win brings both of you guys to 1-1. The next matchup is my own Fart Hounds 156, the Chimps 177. I will say that Lamar carried my squad in this game. He had a fucking 75-point game, and then everyone
half
else,
the points, bro. Like half your points were Lamar almost. It's crazy. He had a monster game.
Everyone else kind of. I mean, DeAndre Swift did okay. He started off in the first quarter. He had like a 50-something yard run, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay, here we go. It's going to be another week 1. And then at the end of it all, he only touched the ball 7 times. He had 5 carries, and then he had 2 receptions. And he still had close to 18 points. He had a touchdown reception. So, yeah, I would have liked to have seen him more involved, but I think he had an ankle knock. So I think they were kind of limiting. But he did play, I don't know, more than 60% of the snaps. So I don't know why that happened. But anyways, everyone else on my roster kind of underperformed. Justin Jefferson was held in check. Kirk Cousins couldn't get rid of the ball fast enough, man. And he was just chunking it, and Slay was there to catch it. So yeah, dude. Adams only had 2 receptions. Hawkinson's been doo-doo. Metcalf and Connor 7 points a pop. And that's pretty much how it went, man. I in hindsight, I had Allen Robinson there, and I went with DK because I felt like, well, DK's the number 1 in Seattle, so he's going to get more targets, and he's a safer bet. When in actuality, they're both probably around the same, in terms of safety. But DK had a really difficult matchup, and Allen Robinson didn't. So, hindsight 2020. And then to the Chimps, man, I said it last week. I said, there's a chance that his players can go off, and that's exactly what happened. Mahomes had a subpar game by his standards, but he had Cortland Sutton with 31, Mark Andrews with 35 or 36. Drake London went off for the first time, 25 points. Pollard with 21. So he just had a good collective effort from all of his players and got the job done with 177 points. So, like I said, the Chimps are scary, man. If he can stay healthy, nobody wants to be playing the Chimps. You know, he's got a squad on him, I think, and then he's got Jalen Hurts on the bench.
Mhm.
So that moves both of these teams to 1-1 as well. Next over to the Win Division, the Bad Hombres gets his first dub of the season to the Muff Vapors, 124. Chris, the third.
Yeah, man. I think the main thing is, Muff's boys let him down, man. He had a rough go of it on Sunday. Yeah. Leonard Fournette underperformed. Mike Evans got ejected out of the game, even though he wasn't doing much. He has that history with Lattimore, where Lattimore tends to shut him down a little bit. The big disappointment, though, for sure, is Jamar Chase. T. Higgins on my side, Jamar Chase on his side, and Higgins ends up outperforming him, almost doubling his production.
Yeah.
And so, and then Barkley, I don't know if he's turning into a pumpkin, but that week 2, far from what he did in week 1. And it was, against Carolina, which you thought he would definitely break out there and have another good game. On my side, really, man, it's just everybody just, steady. You know what I mean? Nothing really to write home about other than McCaffrey finally hitting a bonus. The first bonus of the year for me so far. McCaffrey actually, he's one of those funny players, man, where he gets a lot of receptions, he gets a lot of yards, but it's hard for him to hit a bonus because he gets those splits so much. You know what I mean? It's hard for him to hit that 100-yard rushing bonus because he's getting a lot of targets as well. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. But anyway, he hit the 100-yard bonus, and everybody else just kind of did their job, dude. Nothing too crazy. Logan Thomas catches a touchdown, and when you're starting a tight end like Logan Thomas, you're hoping for a touchdown, and that's what happened. Eckler with just a decent game at 18, and everybody else, man. Stafford with just 22 points. He missed that 300-yard bonus. But I mean, really, it just came down to Muff's guys underperforming and my guys just doing enough this week and getting me the dub. So, man, I'm excited. Obviously, the Bills putting up 20 points on Monday night kind of scared me a little bit. If Devin Singletary does anything in that game, it's definitely a lot closer of a matchup. But yeah, man, I squeaked one out this week, and I'm happy to be to get that O out of my record.
Yeah, man, I think it's much different starting 1-1 than it is 0-2, right? It's just only one game, but it is huge. The next Win Division matchup, over easy, 171 over the Dragons, 143.
Got a blood feud over here.
Dude, Tyree going for 60. I mean, damn, man, that was a crazy fucking game. Baltimore and Miami, that was, definitely helped her cause for sure. Kind of carried her squad a little bit, but everybody else, I mean, him and Nick Chubb. I mean, Nick Chubb also with a great game against the Jets for 32 points.
Russell Wilson underperformed, but other than that, I think like everybody else on her team really contributed to her win. So she's got to be pretty happy about the team performance.
I was also going to say we all
Dotson.
Yeah, I was just going to say we all said it last week. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she was pretty set on that. I'm pretty sure after he had that, and then she had those 2 injuries. There was another rookie receiver that went off this week, or a couple, right? There was a few rookie receivers.
We'll get into it. We'll talk about it.
But yeah, dude, I think she was happy with this victory. She had a little trash talk there in the chat. I think Golden Dragons may have said, what did she say? That he 2 easy dubs to start the season, and Haley was number 2. So she was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to beat the last week too. And that's what happened.
She's going to beat that ass.
So that's what happened. So she was happy with that victory. Over easy, now 1-1. Golden Dragons now 1-1. Over to the Fire Division. The Fuck City Franks, 88 points. The Flint Tropics, 107. One of the lowest scoring games in league history. Mike, look at that.
Yeah, man. It sucks. Like, I think I maybe mentioned it like off camera last week, but I'm like not super confident in my team going forward. And that's why I was like especially disappointed losing last week, because I was like, last week could have been, one of my few wins for the season, but it just wasn't meant to be. I think I did say on camera that the Flint Tropics could double their score from last week and I would still win as long as I put up a similar performance. Well, they doubled up their score from last week, and I didn't get the win because I didn't put up a similar performance. Tom Brady, his second week in a row, just a bit of a stinker of a game. And just across the board, man, my wide receivers didn't really perform. I had Keenan Allen out for an injury, so I knew to expect a lesser performance from my wide receiver group than maybe another ordinary week. The tale of Robbie Anderson, 1 week he puts up 34 points, the next he puts up 3 points. And of course he was on my roster this week because of the injury to Keenan Allen. And then I didn't have much on my bench really that would have made the difference necessarily, like, Damian Harris put up 18.
Well, there's one glaring omission from the start.
Yeah, one glaring. I was getting to that. Other than Garrett Wilson, but he was on my taxi squad. Last week he put up like 10 points or something like that. I don't remember. Where it was enough for me to like maybe keep an eye on him, but not enough to justify like pulling him from my taxi squad. Well, guess what? He's out of my taxi squad now.
Yeah. I don't blame you, dude, because he had like last week he had only a 49% snap percentage. The targets were good, but like 49, it's kind of like, who's going to get the targets, like, for that following week. So I don't fault you. I probably would have done the same thing.
Yeah. At the same time, though, I think those high draft pick wide receivers that are rookies are going to be a part of the
right? They're performing this year so far.
It's like that every year, man. You look at
recently it started getting that way, like in the last 3 years, because before it would take them a longer time to develop, but now in the last like 3 or 4 years they're breaking out a lot sooner. For sure.
I wouldn't even go further, man. I'd even look at like DeAndre Hopkins whenever he was a rookie, and that was what, 8 years ago or something like that.
But he was like the exception back then. You know what I'm saying? He's just a beast. But I think Odell
Beckham Jr. I think it's been happening for a while, but what I'm trying to say is like it happens with receivers. Year one, it's easier to plug them in. Running backs, it takes them a couple of years. You know what I mean? 2 or 3 years before they start to rookie run. Especially nowadays, within the last 3 years, you're seeing much more of them just kind of establish themselves.
Flint really, like, their performance wasn't especially impressive either. Like they wouldn't have beat anyone else, but they beat me. So that feels not great. And we'll discuss it a little bit further, but I did make some moves to my roster to set me up maybe for future years. So.
Yeah. So the final matchup is Marlins going south at 124, the Bangkok Lady Boys 154. Marlon.
In a game where 80% of my starters were injured. Yeah, like no joke, dude. Like Alvin Kamara, he was injured. Gabe Davis injured. Kittle injured, and like that's pretty much all my points right there. So I had to put in a whole bunch of running backs,
scrubs.
So and none of those running backs went off. So it is what it is. Kyler Murray had an okay game. Recovered because he was dragging there for most of his game, and then picked it up at the end. And then Amari Cooper had a great game with 35 points, but that wasn't enough to inch me over the win. You could make the argument that had I put in Carson Wentz on my bench from my bench instead of Murray, and then put in I forget his name off the top of my head, but that receiver for New Orleans. Olave.
Yeah. Hey, Marlon, that I could have. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it looks like that ass is swallowing you up right now, dude.
Yeah, swallowing me up right now. And I could have inched the win maybe, but still, like, I'm not gonna put in Carson Wentz in place of Kyler Murray.
I don't think
against the Raiders. And so I was when I saw all those injuries, I was like, oh, okay, this is, I'm not going to win this. And, I know I had mentioned that I wasn't going to pick myself because I didn't think I was going to win if those injuries stayed, and they did. So it is what it is. My first loss, but.
Yeah, man. I think the big one here is Waddle with 53 points. Homie went off 11 for 19, 171 and 2 touchdowns. That was a big
I
game.
think it's
tough to
100%. Yeah, Jalen Waddle, huge game. But also, let's not forget Michael Thomas, man, 2 weeks in a row now. Decent fucking game. 18 and a half points against a tough fucking defense in Tampa Bay. You know,
He's
that's
back.
he's back. I don't know.
Y'all peep his bench. He had the Bucks sitting on 29. The Bucks defense.
Yeah.
That's
Tua
crazy.
with fucking 75. God damn, on the bench.
Yeah, when I saw the report and I saw his potential points at like 250 something or something like that, something ridiculous, I was like, man.
Oh my goodness. So that puts Gulon Santo at 1-1, the Bangkok Lady Boys at 2-0. Let's look at the standings now. The Earth Division, the best division in the league. Dem Lions 1-1, 370 points scored. Fart Hounds 1-1, 365 points scored. Vino Papi 1-1, 343 points scored. Damn Chimps 1-1, 326 points scored.
Tom, let me stop you because you keep saying best division in the league, and you know that we've been bumping heads a little bit. So why do you say it's the best division in the league? Let's just clarify real quick. Why is it the best division in the league? What are the measures here? Is it championships?
Okay. So historically speaking, yeah, this division has the most champions.
Okay.
If we're talking about just based off of the first 2 games of the year, this division is putting up way more points than everybody. I think we have 1,404 points scored. Win division's 1167 and the Fire's 950. So we're 240 points above the Win division, which is second place.
So it's second place. Okay. So throughout the first 2 weeks, for sure, you guys have been outscoring everybody this season. But last season, I think it was definitely a lot closer. And yes, you guys do have more champions, also, but that's no thanks to you, right?
Yeah. I'll also say I was the lowest scoring team in this division this week, and I would have beat everybody else out of my division except for Over Easy.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, best division in the league.
2 weeks. Through 2 weeks, you are the best division in the league.
Well, I don't think it's that crazy to say. I think 3 teams are coming out of this division, bro. Like I really do.
What's that?
I don't. If you look at the squads, I think 3 teams are going into the playoffs out of this. I don't think that's kind of crazy to say. And I think once you see these teams play out of division, you'll still see these teams start to,
that's the real test. You're right. Once we get out of the division, we'll see what's what for real. Because right now we're just beating up on each other. And trust me, I hate my fucking division, but we might put up some points, man. I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna get interesting for sure.
Yeah, dude. I mean, imagine if you were in this division, dude.
Hey, bro, I'd figure it out.
All righty. And then the Win division, Over Easy 1-1, 340 or 339 points scored. Then the Muff Vipers also 1-1, 320 points scored. The Golden Dragons 1-1, 267 points scored. And then the Bad Hombres 1-1, 241 points scored. So everyone in this division as well is 1-1. Looking into that final first round of division games. I mean, you go 2-1 out of the division, it's going to look good, man. This is also a very difficult division. Over Easy, Muff Vipers, Golden Dragons, all teams here are solid as well, man. So it's going to be interesting to see this week that last round of division matchups. Then it's the Fire division, probably the worst division in the league. I don't know if we have to break down those numbers, but Bangkok Lady Boys, the defending champion, 2-0, 320 points scored. Lon Santo 1-1, 260 points scored. The Flint Tropics 1-1, somehow 160 points scored. And then FC Franks 0-2, 210 points scored. So this division, a little more interesting, or less interesting rather. Marlon and the Lady Boys, you guys are up top. Flint and Frank's kind of, yada. Looking a little rough. So yeah, those are the standings right now. Currently, like I said, the final round of divisional matches, the first part of the season. Let's see if we can get the last dub there. Let's go over to Casey's Canyon.
Let's do it, man. And so we're gonna start with the who the fuck is that guy?
Who the fuck is that guy?
You know, this guy is not necessarily an unknown, but he is a rookie, and he did go off for the first time. So I feel like we should give him some roses. The who the fuck is that guy for this week is Garrett Wilson, rookie wide receiver for the Jets. 8 catches, 102 yards, 2 tutties, and a fat 40 points sitting on Mike's bench. That's fucking crazy. Now I'm glad that he finally earned your respect, Mike, and he's going to make it into the starting lineup. This is the kind of guy I think that you can build your fucking, you know, a core of your squad around going forward. But we'll touch on that and what the moves that you're making here at the end of the segment. But Garrett Wilson, man, huge fucking game, 40 points. The squanderer this week, you know, Mike, I didn't want to pick on you too much, even though you did leave Garrett Wilson on the bench, but I'm not going to pick on you, man. We're going to go with them Lions, man. Them Lions leaving Amon-Ra St. Brown, 51 points on the bench. I mean, did he draft Amon-Ra as a rookie? Was he sitting like in his taxi squad? I think that's what happened, right? Didn't he draft him last year? And he was a homegrown player, bro. Homegrown player. Amon-Ra St. Brown, them Lions.
He's come up through the academy.
He came up through the academy. And now, 51 points. I'm sure he's going to start him over Jerry Jeudy going forward, or at least this next week since Judy's a little banged up. He also left Mariota on the bench. We could have started him over Cousins. That's a tougher call. But the margin of victory between Vino Papi and them Lions was so close. Any one of those moves would have put him over the top. And the bed shitters this week, we got a couple geese. DJ Shark started by Vino Papi. I told you, bro, sit DJ. And
DJ Shark.
Fucking James Robinson. DJ Shark. Sharted.
Told you.
Zero fucking points.
We all heard him.
I told him. And then this is a first, man. I don't think I've ever done a duo bed shitters of the week where it's like 2 guys on the same fucking team and both shit in the bed really hard.
They deserve it.
Mike, you always went back and forth. We talked about it last week. Do I start Tyler Boyd? Do I start Robbie Anderson? Do I start Tyler Boyd? Do I start Robbie Anderson? And your solution was, let me fucking start both of these motherfuckers.
Hey, that wasn't my solution. That was a necessity.
But you started both of them. You could have started Garrett Wilson over any one of these motherfuckers.
No. He was on my taxi squad.
Well, you could have activated them. 8.9 points combined. Fucking Tyler Boyd and Robbie Anderson shit in the bed for Mike. I'm sorry, Mike. And then the last one here, I don't think I've ever done a DST shit in the bed, but the Colts shit the bed against the Jags like they always fucking do, man. We should have fucking seen this coming. Marlon, you started the Colts, right?
Yeah.
Marlon starts the Colts at DST. You think, the Colts have a solid ass defense. The Jags are fucking garbage.
Yeah.
Goosed Marlon really, really hard. That fucking sucks. So
Mike warned us as a Colts fan. He told us this was happening. He told us that.
He did.
Why didn't put Matt Ryan? Why didn't put Matt Ryan?
The no talent pussy of the week, the fuck City Franks, 88.5 points.
Your daddy was a no talent pussy, but at least he listened.
What do you have to say for yourself, Mike?
You have to say for yourself.
That's about all I have to say for myself.
All right. He's gonna punt.
This is a Frank-filled segment, man.
Oh yeah. We're gonna pour them out real quick. Just for one guy, Trey Lance, fibula fracture and a ligament disruption, whatever the fuck that means, out for the season. Out for the season. But I will mention him because this Jimmy Garoppolo coming in is going to have an effect on that offense. It's going to definitely affect Deebo Samuel in a positive way. I think probably going to affect your boy Marlon,
Kittle.
Tight end. It's just Kittle. I don't know why it escaped me there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to definitely affect them in a positive manner now that Jimmy G's in there. So huge implications across fantasy football with Trey Lance being out for the season. So let's pour one out for the young man real quick. Cheers. Coffee because it's the morning. And the big cock on the block, Vino Papi, 185. Awesome score. And you came from behind, man. Fucking huge Monday night for you.
Another Earth Division big cock, man.
Yeah, we almost had. It was looking like we were gonna have It was looking like we were gonna have a repeat big cock on the block this week, but it wasn't meant to be.
Almost. Hey, real
Almost.
quick, since we talked about it a little bit, we're dancing around the subject. So there was a huge trade, massive fucking trade in fantasy. Mike, kind of reading the tea leaves a little bit, kind of seeing that maybe you weren't in contention this year, and you make a huge, drastic, trade. And I think, Mike, let me just get this out of the way. I think it takes balls to do what you're doing. It sucks to have to punt on a season like you're kind of doing right now, but I think that takes fucking guts to do and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to play for fucking the future.
Man.
And that's the kind of trade that went down with Tom. Tom, you again, you're like in win now mode, and that you gave up a lot of capital in the draft. So you guys touch on that trade real quick.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, going into the season, I didn't have a lot of on my roster that I was like, man, I really feel secure, winning this year and winning in the future. And starting 0-2, just it's like throwing dirt on your coffin, man. So I knew that if there was anyone on my team that I was going to keep going forward, it was going to be like Garrett Wilson and Keenan Allen. Other than that, I didn't really have too much attachment to anybody. I don't really have a quarterback for the future. Tom Brady, this is certainly going to be his last year in the league, and Matt Ryan, he's probably got another couple of years too. So I just figured that I could use some capital, some assets to make some moves in the future. And so Tom, made a proposal, and I was interested. So we didn't really, negotiate too much on that.
I don't really like negotiating too much, and I think I've hit up most people. I think there's only 3 people in the league I've never traded with. Chris, I think you're one of them. We should probably trade soon at some point just to do it, bro.
We'll figure it out.
I don't think I've traded with Haley because I don't like to do that because she's my wife and there's like a conflict of interest there, maybe. And the Dragons, I don't think I've ever traded with. Oh, and my brother Eric. So about 5. So there's four teams I haven't traded with. But anyways, the way I go about
you traded with Flint before?
Flint. Okay, so I traded with like half the league.
Yeah, you trade with half the league.
Flint didn't trade with anybody.
You don't get around that much, dude. Calm down.
Giving yourself too much credit, man. But the way I do it, man, is usually I find a player that I'm interested in, and I'll ask the individual if they're willing to part with them. I did that with Marlon early before the season even started. Won't go too much into that, but if they say yes, then I'm like, okay, well, what are you looking for? And if they say no, then I kind of back away. If it's like a hard no, I back away. If it's kind of like, oh, maybe, I don't know, I got to wait on it, then I'll, come back in a couple weeks. Well, Mike, I was looking at Mixon. I really wanted to shore up my flex position.
Yeah.
I was looking at Mike's roster, and he had mentioned last week, he's like, I'm not going to be good for another 2 or 3 years or something like that, right? Another couple years. And so I figured I could probably, if I really want to, I can give up a first-round draft pick and another piece to help Mike out, and he can give me Mixon. So then I asked him, how attached are you to Mixon? And he said, I'm honestly not attached to anyone on my roster right now. So then he was like, what are you thinking? I was like, let me get my wheels turning. And then it just came about, I was like, well, if he's not attached to anybody, I can try to get 2 pieces and I can just give him 2 draft picks. I didn't want to get rid of DK Metcalf because I feel like this is dynasty and he's still a phenom. Like talent-wise, he's not going down. It's just the situation he's in this year. Seahawks have draft capital and they have cap space. So I think he's going to be okay in the long run. Just right now, not looking too good. So he's a piece that will be valuable in the future, I think. So I, involved DK Metcalf, and then Connor I just threw in there because he needed a running back to fill in for who he was losing.
Yeah.
And that was kind of it, man. I thought about like something that made sense for both of us. And I was like, Mike's getting a fucking haul here. He's getting 2 firsts, a second. He's getting DK Metcalf and Connor, whatever, right? And I'm getting 2 guys that I can start at flex every week. And that's how it went, man.
Yeah. I feel like, the trade is going to make me more likely to lose more games in the future, like for this season, I should say. But you touched on it with DK Metcalf. I feel like, if he's not with the Seahawks next year, he might be with another team where he'll have maybe a better quarterback situation, or maybe a situation where he can put up more points. Yeah. And Joe Mixon, he was my starter running back. He's probably maybe like a top 15 running back, but he's not like a running back that, you absolutely have to have. And so I feel like just going forward, Keenan Allen and Garrett Wilson are probably my top 2 players on my roster. And next year I have like 3 first-round picks, so I can definitely supplement my team with a rookie, receiver or running back, or what I'm probably going to target is a quarterback. So we'll see how things go next year.
Mike, you got three first-round picks in next year's draft, which is known to be like a loaded fucking draft. I mean, you could definitely just draft players and just probably end up being okay. And like you said, maybe now you have trade bait. You have 3 first-round picks. You can trade 2 of those away and still have a piece of that first round next year. I mean, if I were you, I mean, I don't want to give out too much advice because we are competing against each other, but Jalen Hurts is sitting on a fucking bench right now, and I don't see him starting over Patrick Mahomes.
That's what I've.
Yeah. Okay, we'll see.
Well.
So I think 2-1s might do it. 2-1s might do it. I mean, I'm just saying.
Just to add on to what Chris was saying about it, just taking balls, it also takes a lot of patience, bro. Like for you to be able to just be like, you know what, like this season, kind of throwing in the towel, but I'm gonna fucking build for the future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way I thought of it is like I honestly saw like maybe 5 wins at the most, and that's not going to take me to the playoffs. So like what would be more valuable to me, like having 5 wins this year, or maybe having like 7 or 8 wins next year.
This does nothing for me, but it makes me feel more comfortable with my flex positions, right? This doesn't guarantee me doing anything, making the playoffs even, but it makes me better than I was yesterday before the trade for this season, right? So like Chris said, win now, did what I had to do.
I mean, I think on paper now, you for sure have the best squad, Tom. I think that's what it for sure like guarantees. If I look at the squad top to bottom, depth and everything, like with Deebo Samuel being your flex, that's a monster, man. You know what I mean?
Those are seasoned flex players.
Yeah.
It's not like a really good rookie you had coming off a week that you got 2 seasoned flex players. People know exactly who they are and what they can do to you. So
yeah, and you're like the Rams, bro. Fuck them picks, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you still have to. Here's the thing, man. Like, and I'm not shitting on you. Don't take this the wrong way, but your strength is definitely in trading as opposed to like drafting. Like, not that you're a shitty drafter, but you're a way better trader than you are a drafter. I think.
Yeah, man. I build my team through trades, dude. I mean, if you look at them, I think Lamar and Jefferson are my 2 guys that I drafted last year that are kind of still my starting roster.
Yeah, and I don't think we mentioned it. I don't think we mentioned it, but I got Joe Mixon from you in the first place. So he's just going home.
When I messaged him, I was like, "Hey, man, how attached are you to Mixon?" He was like, like he said, I'm not attached to anybody on my roster. And he's like, "Well, didn't you get him? Didn't I get him from you last year?" And I was like, "Yep."
Yep.
So yeah, man. But yeah, we'll see how it works out for both teams. Obviously, 2 teams in 2 very different positions with 2 different outlooks for the year. So we'll see how it plays out for both of us. But now let's have a look at the prediction leader, Mike.
Oh shit. So 4 of us on this call right now are 2 and 6 for our picks, so we're picking about 33%, and 1 person is picked 4 out of 6 correctly last week, and that is Vino Poppy. So he's sitting at the top of the prediction list with the 66%.
Right on. Okay, boys, let's get into the 3 matchups. Let's try to get through these a little bit quicker. Make your prediction. State why you think they're going to win. Let's not get into too much analysis. We're kind of pressed on time right now. So the week 3 matchups. The first one will be in the fire division. We'll pull this up with me. The fire division: Culon Santo versus Flint Tropics. 2-1-1 teams. I'm going at it, Marlon.
I'm going to put all my money on me. Not because I think my team's great. It's just that I think Flint Tropics team is so bad right now.
Is Kamara going to be back? Kamara's coming back, right?
So if Kamara comes back, I'm going to put him into my starter in place of Hunt. And I've got a couple options, provided that some of these guys come back. I think I might even run 2 tight ends. I might even run Ertz and fucking Kittle if he comes back, because they're going up against the Rams, and the Rams, like who else does he have? Who else does Kyler Murray have to pass it to?
Yeah,
really. I mean, on paper, they do well against tight ends, but who else is he going to pass it to? Yeah. Really?
Same one.
I'll keep my prediction short and sweet and just go with Coulon this week.
That makes 3 of us on Coulon's side. I just feel like your roster is just better. He's got a whole lot of injuries and a lot of other problems. So Coulon Santo for me.
Yeah, man, same thing. I'm going to go with Coulon, even though I am looking at the Flint Tropic side, and there's a lot of green as far as the matchups on his side, but his players just aren't as, I mean, Derrick Henry could go off against the Raiders, but other than that, man, his players just aren't up to the challenge, I think. So especially if Kamara comes back, I'm going to go with Coulon Santo for the bid.
I'm actually going to go with Flint Tropics, man. Just because of Coulon's squad as is. Obviously, if you were to put some of the other guys in, if Kamara could come back or Gabe Davis, that would have 100% changed it. But as it is, as I say before my eyes, I do think Henry is, I think this is going to be his week to bounce back. Christian Kirk has been doing really, really well as the clear number 1 receiver for Lawrence, and building out a rapport there. And so is Jalen Myers, building some rapport with Mac Jones. So I just think I like his squad. It's not a good looking squad, but I just like it a little bit more than what you currently have in play this week.
Kind of feita, but
fair enough.
Going over.
Empinada y encuerada. Muy pocas se me van.
All right. Right on. So the next matchup in the Fire division is the Fuck City Franks versus the Bangkok Ladyboys. FC Franks is 0-2. Bangkok's 2-0. Mike.
Ladyboys.
It's going to be Ladyboys for me.
Against himself all year now or what?
Probably going forward, yeah.
It's going to be Ladyboys for me too. Just after seeing what his team could do last week, it was just.
You can
crazy.
tell me I suck, Marlon. It's okay.
No, you don't suck, man.
Hey, he told you sucked last week. I don't know if you remember.
You inhale greatly.
You inhale greatly.
Oh man, I'm gonna go with the Ladyboys too. But Mike, I'm looking at your squad. It doesn't look that bad, bro. I know you're fucking punting on the season and you're tanking and shit, but your squad doesn't look that bad, especially if Keenan Allen is playing. You got fucking Metcalf in there. Wilson can have another fucking great game, and if Tom Brady wakes up against the fucking Packers, you're in it, bro. You can win this fucking game.
Yeah.
Dude, okay. Yeah. I'm looking at Mike's roster.
A lot of ifs.
I feel like this is a trap game for the Ladyboys, dude. I feel like Mike's gonna come out. And dude, I feel like, I want my Fart Hound alumni to do well, man. I think DK is going to have a big game this week against Atlanta. And I feel like that's going to be like the determining factor, dude.
Hey, is that your pick?
Yeah. So I'm going with the Fuck City Franks.
All right. Jose?
I am not going to Fuck City Franks. I think I'm not going to Fuck City Franks. I'm going to Bangkok, but I think I see all of your points, and dude, Tua, he's putting Tua as his quarterback this year. He's not going to do that, do what he did last week against the Buffalo Bills. Neither is Waddle. And so even though I'm going with the Bangkok Ladyboys, I think it will actually be a pretty competitive week for sure.
Yeah. So that's Chris, you got the Ladyboys, right? I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, the Ladyboys, yeah.
All right, cool. Just making sure.
He does have Jonathan Taylor coming off a very slow game. So look for him to kind of bounce back, I think, as well. Marlon?
Yep.
Oh, I already said yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we're good there.
Are you gonna make me say it again?
I'm again, baby boy. Now to the Win division. A rivalry matchup between Over Easy and the Bad Hombres. Christopher.
Well, let me start. Russell Wilson, he doesn't look good, man. I mean, I know he had a decent week 1, but week 2 was a little rough, and now he's going against the Niners, who have a historically solid defense. Tyreek Hill against Buffalo. Vino, you touched on it a little bit already. That's a tough matchup. Although Tyreek always has that ability to fucking break one off for 75, could happen. but the Bills defense is stout, man. The best team in the league for sure. So I'm gonna go with myself, man. I just think my guys have slightly better matchups. You know, if you know Russell Wilson wasn't going against the Niners, and if Tyreek had a better matchup, I can definitely see her pulling it out. But I like Eckler against Jacksonville. You know, I like Cooks against the Bears. I think he's gonna have a bounce back game. And then Matthew Stafford against Arizona. I think he finally breaks that 300-yard mark for me this year and gets me into the bonus.
Yeah.
And CeeDee Lamb looked decent, man, like with Cooper Rush. And I benched him last week because I just didn't know what that was going to look like. But CeeDee Lamb against the Giants, I like that. And then obviously I'm a little worried about McCaffrey against New Orleans, but I think he'll do okay because of his receiving abilities. So I'm going to pick myself, man. I think I feel good about it this week. So I'm gonna go with myself.
Yeah, I got you this week also for pretty much everything you mentioned.
I'm gonna go with Chris as well, just because. And I in these situations I usually go with over easy, but some of our best players have really tough matchups.
Yeah,
like so it's hard to tilt the scales on to overcome that.
Yeah, I'll go over easy just because everyone's picking against her. Someone has to go against the grain here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough matchup for her. She does have really difficult matchups, but if Pittman can come back against KC, I think that could be a bright spot for her.
Damn, I didn't know she had Pittman. God damn it. That's right. That could be a difference maker.
Yeah.
And then, like McCaffrey against New Orleans is kind of a rough one. I think it's going to be a close game. They'll go either way, but I'm just going to go over easy because she's my wife and everyone's picking against her.
Yeah. Jose, who you got?
As is, I'm going to go with the Bad Hombres. Yeah, she just has really tough matchups, like all of you have mentioned. I think this is what's that, and simply, I really do not like her flexes. You know, obviously, if Pittman comes back and he's able to pay this week, I definitely think it would be more in her favor. But as is, I'm going to go with the Bad Hombres. I think something to look out for too is Nick Chubb is going up against Pittsburgh, which is like ranked I think 23rd in terms of rushing defense, and McCaffrey's going up against New Orleans, which is I think like the 22nd or 21st, I think. So that's just something to look out for. But I am going with it, but Bad Hombres.
Sweet.
Right on. And the final matchup in that division is the Muff Vipers 1-1 against the Golden Dragons, who are also 1-1. Both of these teams won their first matchup, lost their second one, so they're trying to get back in that dub column. Mike, who do you got?
I'm going with the Muff Vipers, but that's contingent on Herbert actually playing. He's questionable right now, but I think there's a good chance that he's going to play. If he plays, I'm going with Muff. So that's my official prediction, but that could change. So
I'm gonna go with Muff also, man. Again, Herbert not playing would be questionable. Let's see, who does he have on the bench? Justin Fields, not good. Yeah, I mean it'd be sketchy if Herbert doesn't play, but I'm gonna go with Muff, dude. Najee's banged up for the Dragons, so I think that might be key in the matchup. And then Aaron Rodgers against the Bucks. If he is going to stick with Aaron Rodgers against the Bucks, that's a tough squad to go up against. So, man, I'm going to go with Muff.
I'll go Muff too. I just like his squad over what's his name? Ken?
Golden Dragon.
What did I call them a couple of times? I can't remember. It was a funny name. Come check. That's not on him. That's my dyslexia.
Change your hat.
Yeah.
Come check, bro.
Come check. So I got Muff Vipers.
All right.
Good deal. I'm actually gonna go with Muff Vipers 2. I think it might be a little close, but I think Barkley and Najee. I think it's gonna be competitive in terms of points, but it's not gonna be a lot. Barkley has Dallas, Najee has Cleveland, which is like the second ranked D against running back. Sorry. And then also some look out for is just AJ Brown versus Chase. Those are both going to be shootout games. Both the Jets and Washington have been throwing it a lot, so that's going to be interesting. But overall, I'm just going to go with Muff. And I think the only thing that would cause me to be wrong this week is if David Montgomery goes off against Houston.
So that's a sweep. First sweep.
I haven't
Sweep of the week. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you picked Muff.
You know, everyone's going up against Golden Dragons, and I feel like he has some decent matchups. I'm going Muff Vipers.
All right, cool.
I think that
we're sweeping.
I think Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase is going to boom.
Yeah,
this
I
week.
think he's going to have a big week.
Last week. I think this is week to kind of go boom boom. I think Herbert's going to play. My gut tells me Herbert's going to play. It's a cartilage issue, which is like very painful, but you know they got shots for that. So yeah, I think I'm going to go Muff Vipers as well. The main reason why, from Golden Dragon standpoint, is I think like Najee Harris is injured. Like he's not 100%. It's a tough matchup. It's not looking good. So let's head into the Fire division. The Fart Hounds 1-1 taking on Dem Lions.
Earth division.
Earth division. I'm sorry. Yeah, Fart Hounds 1-1. Dem Lions 1-1. Jose.
After this trade, man, I really like your squad. Yeah, I mean, simply that. Right now, he still has Thielen in there too. I just, they need to figure that out. Thielen needs to be in the end zone for him to be relevant, and that's just too much that's too much of a downside, I think, to place in him. So I just like your flexes more. Maybe the only thing I think might help in terms of points is really just going to be if Kelsey has a really good game. That might help, if Thielen doesn't do as good. But then again, if Hawkinson has a similar type of game with just average league targets, then Hawkinson. But I'm going with Fart Hounds this week.
Yeah, I think you've Tom, you mentioned the divisional talent. This is a very evenly matched game, and I really think this could be a coin flip. So I'm gonna go with Fart Hounds this week, but I mean, really, this game could go either way. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Man, dude, this is a tough one, dude. Like I don't want to disrespect them Lions by fucking sweeping them. I mean, I don't think we should do that.
Yeah.
So somebody please make them Lions. But like, I'm just looking at the matchups, dude. Like, Tom, your guys have solid fucking like really great matchups for them to go off. And I think this matchup is just between the two of you is just going to come down to basically the bonus. Like whose guys are going to hit the bonuses. And I think your guys are going to get more bonuses this week just based off of matchups. Jefferson against Detroit, Swift against Minnesota, like Adams against Tennessee. Like I think those guys, and then Mixon against the Jets. That's fucking, oh man. It's just the matchups are too good on your side. I mean, yeah, I see that he's got great matchups, but I just trust your guys a little more. So I'm gonna go with the Fart Hounds this week.
Marlon.
Hate to go against the grain, you guys, but I'm gonna give the edge to Dem Lions. I think it's gonna be really, really close, and it hinges on the performance, on like not the stars aligning, so to speak, but kind of like everything falling in line for Tom this first go around with your new team. I don't know, just to go against you guys, just to say, hey, you all guessed wrong. I'm going Dem Lions.
I appreciate you not kissing me, dude, because Chris was right, man. The sweep's always been the kiss of death, and that's why I wanted to go last, because if y'all went with me, I was definitely going to pick Dem Lions, but now I'll pick myself. Yeah, I like my matchups. I think the trade I made this week has to work out for me this week, right? So I'm really hoping it does, and I hope I see like immediate results. So I'm going to take myself. It's funny. Dem Lions had actually messaged me yesterday. It was like, hey, man, you want to place a friendly wager on this game? And this was literally like a few minutes before the trade went through. And then I made the trade, and he was all, you fucker. And so, yeah, man, I'm going to pick myself just because I like my team this week overall. But Dem Lions, again, very strong team, and it can go either way, really. But I'm going with the Fart Hounds.
Hey, real quick, last week we had 3 sweeps, and only one of them was correct. So,
yeah, see, you never know. You never know. The final matchup we're looking at in the Earth Division, Vino Papi, 1-1 against Los Chimps or Damn Champs, 1-1 as well.
Yeah, for the second week in a row, man, I think Vino's game is going to be the game of the week, one of the highest scoring games. We got a marquee matchup with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. And similar to Tom's game, I really think this is, going to come down to the flip of a coin. But I'm going to go with Vino this week.
I'm going to go with Vino too. I think Allen's the Bills are just killing it right now, dude. Stephon Diggs. And I mean, I know they got, Miami's not terrible defensively, but yeah, it's hard to pick against those guys. James Robinson in your starting lineup this week. And then I look on the other side of the ball. He's got some decent matchups. I think Drake London's in for a decent game against Seattle. Keep that rookie going. And then Mahomes against Indy, man. I think Mahomes has potential to boom there as well. Oh man, now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to stick with my pick. But I mean, Dalvin Cook against Detroit. Dalvin Cook's bound to have he needs to have a good game. And I think this might be the week to do it against the Lions, even though they've been pretty solid. But like Mike said, flip of a coin. I'm going Vino.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Vino too, man. I really like Cortland Sutton on Los Chimps side, but he's got a tough matchup against the Niners. He's starting Tony Pollard, who's hit or miss. He hit last week, but he's definitely not a reliable fantasy option. And then again, like we've touched on it, man, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs have been going off. I don't see Miami slowing them down. So I'm going to go with Vino, man. I think you're going to pull it out. It's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be it's going to be another nail-biter for you, Vino. You're going to be a little stressed out.
Yeah.
You're going to pull it out this week.
Speaking of pulling it out, Marlon, who are you going with?
I'm pulling it out and putting it into Vino Papi's team. No, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs to go off, especially given the massacre that they from a quarterback's perspective, just like a complete shootout. And I think it's going to be a similar situation, especially when you have a quarterback that flings it like Josh Allen. I think it's a good opportunity for that double up of points. I think you're going to score the bonus and you're going to inch past Los Chimps this week.
James.
All right, Vino, you going with yourself?
Yeah, I'm going with myself, man.
The kiss of death, don't do it.
I have to, man. I just one for my my pick accuracy, and two, I just and no, two, man. It's just I just do like my squad in their matchups this week. I finally learned from Chris. I am plugging in James Robinson. He's officially in there going forward. Also, what happened with Garoppolo and Trey Lance this week. I just last year when Garoppolo was in, Brandon Ayuk got 15 to 20% more targets versus anytime Lance was in. So far, I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, but he just looked to debone his running backs a little bit more with those. So I'm hoping that play script works in my favor. Two things to look out for on Los Chimps sides is Drake London going against Seattle, which is one of the worst secondaries in football right now. And like Tom mentioned, Dalvin Cook, I think, should have a hell of a game against Detroit, which is one of the worst run defenses in the league. But overall, I just like my squad a little bit better this week. And so I'm going to go with myself.
Dude,
Switch.
You just gave yourself the kiss of death, bro. I can't do it. No, I would do it, but Jose was like, I want to go last. I was like, so he's so he can save himself if he had to, but he just fucked. Why do you want to go last, bro? What?
Yeah.
I want to go last, man.
Maybe our sweep record will be better this week.
All right. That's all the matchups for this week. Final round of divisional matchups. First part of the season. for most teams, it's like you're either going to start 2-1 or 1-2, and you want to be 2-1 going into
2-1 for sure.
So it's going to be good, boys. Good luck to everybody, and we'll see y'all next time.
Nos guachamos.
Peace.